Periods of change require us to embrace discomfort and just sit in stillness. Why does this keep happening to me? Why do I keep experiencing this? Why do I keep feeling like this? And it's because, baby girl, you didn't sit with it. You clearly didn't learn from it. You clearly still have a lot more to uncover. So it's going to keep happening. You're in for a rude awakening. It is going to keep happening. The weather, as bipolar as it can sometimes be, is a good reminder of how temporary literally everything is, even life. Although that can seem sad when it comes to the good things that we love, that we really want to indulge in and embrace, is key when it comes to escaping negative thought patterns and negative self-talk and just patterns and behaviors and habits that you know aren't good for you in the long run, even if they feel good for you in the moment. God said, you gotta think big. God said, you gotta think big. You're not thinking big enough, baby girl. You're not dreaming big enough. I do not have all the answers, Sway. Don't have the answers. So if you came here looking for answers, I'm gonna just pack it up, find another video, because I don't got no answers up here. What I got is relatable experiences that you can hopefully use to find your own answers. Okay, what's good, you guys? Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. In today's video, I want to talk about embracing change, specifically embracing change when we're going through major life shifts. I know I'm not the only one who's been undergoing a major pivot, life shift, transformation. And I've been in this stage for a couple of months now. Not even a couple. I've been in this stage for many months now. It feels like I'm entering a new part of this stage. If I had to title maybe the different stages, I'd say the beginning was just like this blissful, ignorant stage of just like, I'm ready for something new. I'm ready for change. I don't really know what that is. I don't really know what that looks like. But until I figure it out, I'm just going to keep living life, enjoying my life to the fullest, and indulging in all of the quality time with my people, quality time with myself, just like things that are making me have fun, things that make me feel good, that don't have any bad effects later on down the road. After that kind of delusional phase, that very optimistic phase, I felt like I entered this kind of reality check where it was like, okay, this is actually the reality of the situation. And not only do you want a change in life, you're being pushed into one. You're being forced into one. You can't go back. You can't change your mind and decide, oh, actually, I'm kind of fine with how things are. I mean, you can, but sometimes life will force you into circumstances, force you into certain patterns and habits to get you to recognize things about yourself that you need to work on or change in some kind of way. After that kind of reality check and what the fuck kind of moment, I felt like I entered this period of grieving. I had to grieve who I was in that moment. And not all of myself, but definitely certain aspects of myself. I had to let certain habits go, certain characteristics go, certain mindset patterns go. I had to let certain circumstances go, maybe let certain people go, shedding parts of myself, shedding pieces of my current life that were no longer going to serve where I was going. I would say while going through that grieving stage, whew, when I talk about hitting valleys and low lows, yeah, that was a time. That was a time, I would say fall of 2023 and the beginning of winter before shifting into 2024 really kicked my ass, 1-2 piece. It really pulled me into a period of isolation. I feel like anytime we undergo extreme periods of change, some way or another, we're going to enter a stage of isolation where we need to kind of just be with ourselves, be with our thoughts, be with God or whatever higher power you believe in. For me, I talk to God. I also talk to my Orisas, harnessing their power and God's power and just my own power from my higher being is crucial and happens the most when I'm in those isolated periods. But one thing about just that grieving period when you're grieving yourself is different from when you're grieving the death of someone who is no longer physically with us, or when you're grieving even a relationship or friendship where you maybe no longer see that person anymore. When you're grieving parts of yourself, old versions of yourself, you actually still have to look at yourself in the mirror every single day. You catch your reflection all the time, whether it is in front of an actual mirror, whether you're just passing by a store window and you see a reflection in the glass. You can't escape yourself, is what I'm saying. There's no kind of out of sight, out of mind, let time heal all, whatever the kind of kitschy cheesy saying is. Wow. I just want to take a moment and acknowledge the fact that earlier today it was extremely sunny, 82-degree day, chef's kiss day of New York City, and it is now raining. And I mean raining. Baby, the way life to just switch up on you, really, just like snap of a finger, flip of a switch, it can happen so fast. And it's like, are you ready for that type of switch? And if you're not prepared, say you're out in the world, dressed all cute, don't have an umbrella, it's a sunny day, and then all of a sudden rain that was never in the forecast happens to come and it's pouring down on you, not even some light, cute rain. It's just like kind of rain. Yeah, if you don't have the umbrella because maybe you're not prepared, you weren't expecting that, as long as your perspective and your mindset is prepared for sudden life changes such as that, I'm only using the weather as just kind of like a metaphor. As long as your mind is prepared, it really doesn't matter what outside things are going on. As I was nearing the end of this like grieving stage, which I could say happened February 2024 of this year, so really just what, 3 months ago, 2 months ago, I found myself on the rooftop just recording the voice notice of voice notes. I mean, I recorded like a damn near 30-minute, hour-long podcast, essentially, just for myself to like listen back to later on. I was just breaking it down. I was crying. I was sitting on the roof, smoking a joint, watching this amazing, beautiful sunset, and just like, you know, pushing myself to find reasons to be grateful, different ways to express gratitude in that moment, because it felt like, and trigger warning, but it felt like life wasn't really worth living. And not to say that I wanted to remove myself from this earth, but it was one of those things where it was like, I don't want to be living like this. I don't want to be feeling like this. This needs to change. And if any of you are familiar with grieving at all, whether you have experienced loss in the form of death or in the form of a relationship or, just in the form of transformation, you know that after you kind of go through that stage of just like isolation and depression, you start coming out on the other side. You start kind of like climbing towards the peak. And while I don't feel like I'm necessarily at that peak yet, I do feel like I'm very close to it. And it kind of is what inspired me to even start recording YouTube videos again. There would be things that I would be sharing with my friends in voice notes. It kind of made me recognize that not only could my friends relate to this, right? There's definitely a larger audience I feel like can relate to this. Can just relate to like just the feeling of going through a transformation, that feeling of losing yourself a little bit before you find yourself again. If you know what I'm talking about, you know that losing yourself can be like one of the scariest things possible, because it's never permanent, but when you're in the middle of it, it feels very permanent. It feels like, wow, this is my new normal. This is just what it's going to be forever. And that's it. But I'd say one of the key components to embracing change is just focusing on the aspects of my life I can control. Embracing change allows me to focus on the actions of mine and my habits that I can control, that I can change if necessary, but allows me to kind of release control of my emotions so that I can be open to feeling whatever I need to feel. That way I can differentiate between what needs to just be felt and pass through me, and what needs to be felt that I need to sit with and kind of like dig deeper on and unravel a little bit in order to get to whatever the next phase is. Periods of change require us to embrace discomfort and just sit in stillness. And I feel like for any of us who are super active, hyper independent people, to sit in stillness and just like be comfortable doing nothing can be one of the hardest things to do. And being totally, completely just like comfortable and at ease and not guilty and feeling like you need to be doing something. I feel like because of social media and we're constantly consuming different people's lives, right? We can sometimes feel like we need to always be doing something in order to have value in this world. And sometimes just being still and doing nothing and embracing that stillness is really one of the most powerful things we can do for ourselves. It's in those moments of stillness that I feel like we are quiet enough inside to hear God and to hear our own internal compass and really kind of connect to our higher selves so that we can just kind of like have a deeper understanding of ourselves. I know for many of us, sitting in stillness is not that difficult. And if that is you, I'm not even being sarcastic, literal round of applause. In a world that is literally trampling our attention span into the dirt, to be able to sit in stillness and to be able to embrace just like moments that make you feel uncomfortable, feelings that feel uncomfortable, and not just like burying them down or pushing them away, ignoring them, we can actually move forward. Because when we ignore discomfort, when we ignore feelings that we need to feel, when we ignore circumstances that we need to learn from, we keep repeating cycles, we keep repeating patterns, we keep going through the same things over and over and asking ourselves, like, oh my God, again, like, oh my God, why does this keep happening to me? Why do I keep experiencing this? Why do I keep feeling like this? And it's because, baby girl, you didn't sit with it. You clearly didn't learn from it. You clearly still have a lot more to uncover. So it's going to keep happening. You're in for a rude awakening. It is going to keep happening. Yeah. Sorry, not sorry. For me, I know when it comes to experiencing periods of discomfort, I try to overindulge in habits and patterns of mine that I know make me feel good. And although I know they make me feel good temporarily, things that give me shots of dopamine. So I'm a overindulger. I'm a Taurus moon. So when my emotions are being challenged, I like to indulge in the things that make me feel good. And sometimes that can lead to an overindulgence. I don't think indulging in anything that makes you feel good is necessarily bad, but overindulging in anything, even good things, is never that great for us. For me, those things are trashy TV, fatty foods, recently sweets, this game on my phone called Township, which I am embarrassingly too addicted to. Half the battle is recognizing it, right? Recognizing those patterns and habits of ours that stay the same. Our patterns are easiest to recognize when we're in periods of change because everything around us that is out of our control is changing. So what really stands out is those things that stay the same, whether it's our habits, whether it's just like putting ourselves into a certain kind of like schedule or routine or whatever we feel like that gives us that sense of control. But what I found when it comes to embracing change too is better to kind of release as much control as possible, definitely remain in control of ourselves, but like to a certain degree. I think we need to be open and adaptable and flexible to embracing what is coming because we don't know what that looks like. I know I don't know what that looks like. I do not have all the answers, Sway. Don't have the answers. So if you came here looking for answers, I mean, just pack it up, find another video because I don't got no answers up here. What I got is relatable experiences that you can hopefully use to find your own answers. Okay. It's funny because this transformation period I've been in started out as a career pivot that has somehow turned into an entire like life shift. And the career pivot aspect for me was something kind of within my control because I was choosing to pivot in my career. So all of a sudden my industry went on a 8-month long strike. And then I was forced I was forced to pivot in my career, but it also forced me to just also reassess other aspects of my life and other areas that needed to be changed. Every time I'm in a period of change, I always find myself reflecting on past versions of myself and how past versions of myself would have handled these moments. I try not to get stuck there, right? Because it's not like I'm trying to return to a past version of myself. But I do know I was once a girl who sprinted head first at risk, at change. I was definitely one of those throw caution to the wind and just kind of like, fuck it, let's see what happens type of girls. And I love that about me for that period of my life. I will say I've avoided a lot of what could have been dangerous situations or just like not the safest, most ideal situations. But I'm glad to have had those experiences because the woman I am today can use the past experiences of the girl I used to be, of that girl who was throwing caution to the wind, and now can take a little bit more calculated risk, a little less risky risk, and more risk that it's like I have to take this risk if I don't want to stay in a place of complacency. But I'm going to be smart about this risk, right? I'm going to use the wisdom that I've gained in the last 30 years of my life, in addition to the wisdom that I gained from those moments of stillness and those conversations I have with God, to inform my next decision, to inform how I move forward. My idea of pivot and my idea of change and the change that I was pushing myself into was very narrow minded. I was looking at my career pivot as how can I leverage the majority of the skills I have in my current industry, but maybe in another industry or maybe just in another position adjacent to my current industry. And God said, you gotta think big. God said, you gotta think big. You're not thinking big enough, baby girl. You're not dreaming big enough. You are thinking small. You are thinking narrow minded. You are single track in your focus. And this is your perspective right now. And I need your perspective to be this a full 360. A full 360 right now. You're just looking at what is directly in front of you. It's funny because we really be making plans for our life. And God really chuckles. And I mean, I think he chuckles, but probably is full on laughing. I mean, like, slapping your friend laughing, like, hi girl, you so funny. I love when you amend the script like that. Just throw me a little curveball and give me a little little something to laugh at. Like, that's cute. I love that you did that. God's vision and plan for our life is so much bigger than what we can fathom, what we can imagine. Sometimes it can be hard to see and just accept how grand of a life God has planned for us. And I think it can be easier to sit in the comfort of our habits and sit in the comfort of our patterns. Embrace a life that is not terrible, right? It's not miserable, but is very complacent. Doesn't really make us happy, but doesn't make us sad either. It's somewhere in the middle, and it's like, okay, like I can deal with it. It's not like the worst thing. But I've always been a person who wants more, who's always chased more, who's always been an overachiever, who loves to learn, who loves to absorb, who loves to experience, who loves to ask why. And it's never been in me to just sit somewhere in the middle and be okay with that. I just know that there's more in me, and I feel like I would be doing a detriment to myself, and a detriment to my purpose, and a detriment to my place in the world, to kind of like run away from what God is pushing me towards. And baby, I've been running away for a minute. Y'all, I've been running away from this life that God has been trying to push me into for some years, I would say. Some years. It felt like I was chasing maybe a more superficial dream than embracing what I feel or what I know I'm being pushed towards. I talk about this with my therapist a lot. Like, I am finally in a place where I'm comfortable with not knowing, and I'm comfortable with not knowing what's coming next. I'm comfortable with where I am, and I really have no complaints outside of like financially. If all I have to worry about is where I'm getting money, it's not really a lot to worry about because God always has me when it comes to finances. Some way, somehow, finances be falling in my bank account. And I need to honestly take more moments to express that gratitude and like just be appreciative of that blessed position to be in. The reason I've been kind of running and a little less open to the change and like transformation that I'm in is because I feel or have felt severely underqualified for what I'm being pushed to do. Not only that, but it's like I'm being forced to be a novice at something. I'm being forced to be not good at something again, but it feels like God wants me to go through this stage in front of more eyes than I'm definitely comfortable with. Like, if it was up to me, I would go through this transformation by myself. But what I'm being pushed into, God wants me to have like a little bit more of an audience. That audience being my loved ones, that audience being whoever this is reaching on the internet. As much as I definitely love to talk, I definitely am an opinionated person. I definitely have a lot of perspective to give on everything. I don't necessarily consider myself an expert in anything when it comes to just like mental health and spiritual wellness and emotional well-being. But somehow my life experiences and everything is pushing me to just kind of go through things, learn from them, and share. I just want to take a moment to really even say thank you. Thank you for watching. Thank you for showing up for me. Thank you for supporting me. Thank you for all the engagement that my very first video got. I had no idea. Like, it's small engagement, new subscribers, and people are chiming in and engaging in a conversation that I've never even met before. Wow. I definitely cried. Initially, it was just like, wow, I'm so grateful that my life experiences and just things that I'm going through are part of a bigger, like, they're serving a larger purpose. Remember earlier in the video where I talked about how it was a beautiful sunny day and then it was downpouring rain? You can tell, obviously, that the sun is the sun has come back out, baby. It's like, listen, I'm here to stay. That was just a little temporary something. And I would like to use, honestly, that metaphor, sticking with just like being in the present moment and just like being open to messages that you might receive in strange ways. The weather, as bipolar as it can sometimes be, is a good reminder of how temporary literally everything is. Even life is temporary, not to be morbid, but how temporary everything is. And although that can seem sad when it comes to the good things that we love, that we really want to like indulge in and embrace and, you know, just like hold on to, but is key when it comes to escaping negative thought patterns and negative self-talk and just patterns and behaviors and habits that you know aren't good for you in the long run, even if they feel good for you in the moment. And I wish the sun was here this whole video. Like, this is gorgeous, and I already know the way it's gonna affect when I do some color grading and color matching, that it's going to definitely be brighter towards the end of the video. But that's okay, because I feel like a brighter end means that you'll leave this video hopefully feeling inspired in whatever way, whether it's that to have more conversation with yourself, to have more conversations with God, more conversations with your friends, to take moments for isolation, moments for stillness. I want you to come away from this video feeling good. If I had to sum up right now what the purpose of this channel is, 3 videos deep, 3 videos in, is to help us connect more deeply to ourselves, more deeply to others, and more deeply to the world as a whole. For now, we're just going to leave it at this, just embracing change. And I hope that if you're taking away anything from this video, it's just remembering that, yes, we are in control, but that doesn't mean we need to control everything that we possibly can. Change is always going to happen, and nothing in life is permanent. So it's better to just embrace the change. It's better to just sit in the discomfort. It's better to just sit in the stillness, understanding that all of these moments are temporary. And there's going to be a period in your life where you wish you sat in more stillness. You wish you were more present in those moments. You wish you got to just participate more and be a driver in your life rather than be a passenger. You'll have moments where you wish you could have been more present with your grandparents, more present with your parents. So just be in the present moment, as temporary as it is, and embrace all of the changes that life has for us, as difficult but as beautiful as that can be. Oh man, thank you guys for sticking with me, because I know sometimes I really do be all over the place, and I know I say this literally in every video, or I have said this in every video now so far. It wouldn't be me, it wouldn't be right, I should say, to end this video without giving you a little bit of homework. You know, we love homework over here, girl. We're always going to give you a little journaling takeaway, or a little like challenge, a little question, a little something for you to dig deeper in. Today's takeaway comes from Pattern, and this is not sponsored. I just love that app down. Assess the ways in which you've been spending time with yourself and ask if it's been adding value to your life. Then assess what distractions have been taking you out of the present moment and away from your larger goals. Eliminate them. Eliminate them. Do what? Basura. Trash. Throw it away, okay? Throw it away. There's no room for trash in your life. And it's funny because as I'm sitting here talking about just like life transformations, I got a alert from Pattern that I am now starting a new transformational period in my life. That's literally from today for the next 21 months. It'll be a very spiritual one according to the app, and it'll also be one that largely impacts my career. And there's no coincidence in that. The fact that I decided to talk about embracing change today, and Pattern is like, boom, big changes coming your way, baby, starting today. The download was, ideally, your career will allow you to tap into your sense of empathy and kindness. It should let you open the hearts of others and create space for emotional healing. Is that not literally what I just said? Like, life. One thing about life is it's never by coincidence. It is all divine design. I do think that everything moves as it's meant to. Whether or not we understand that in the present moment is kind of irrelevant. Thank you for sticking with me, making it through this far. Just let me know your thoughts in the comments. Let me know how you guys embrace change, death of self and death of ego, and just like what it means to grieve old parts of yourself in order to embrace new parts of yourself and embrace a new path that you're being guided towards. And yeah, I love to hear from you guys. I really, really, really loved hearing from all of you in the first video that I dropped 3 weeks ago, and I cannot wait to hear your thoughts at the end of this video. I think next week I'm going to talk about navigating adult friendships while in a relationship. I need to kind of journal a little bit more about it to like kind of organize my thoughts a little bit, but navigating adult friendships in general is a thing. Navigating adult friendships while you're in a relationship is another thing. And obviously, I'll be talking about not any one way it looks like, but just what it looks like from my perspective as a cisgendered heterosexual woman. So obviously, everybody won't relate to my perspective, but I think it's an interesting topic. I think it's something that we're all trying to figure out. I definitely will say a key point. Nope, you know what? I'm going to save it for next week. So I love you guys. Love you down. Thank you for sticking with me this far. Bye. Woo! We did. Another week down. Oh my gosh. I never know how to start a video, end a video, stay on track for a video, but it's going down in the next video. Okay. Bye. Ma.